think I have everything up.
Do I sound
I just don't know what two teams do. Yeah, you sound fine. I don't know. Do you know what two teams do omit? There's two teams not playing? Yeah. There's probably teams played last night. Chicago plays, I know.
Anaheim and Calgary are the two teams that aren't playing.
Easy. Yeah, that was like the last thing I was trying to do before. And I was like, I just don't have time to try to figure this out.
Right.
Okay. Let me pin the YouTube. Copy that. Get everything, because I don't know. People like to join both of them. I don't really. Tried to read through most of the lines, and there's just so much all at once with so many teams.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should let the people know, huh?
Yeah, and YouTube link. All at you on both.
Sounds good.
And I'll just put it in the Discord. Oh crap! I closed Discord. Smart. I close it because it always makes me nervous. It's gonna make it slower, and I'm sure it does. So I'll close it again. Oh, and that didn't work.
Yeah, same reason I close all my files.
Yeah,
I freeze every time.
There's no way to, even when I plug in the Ethernet, it just doesn't make a difference. All right, I'll put it in the deposit kingdom. I don't put it anywhere. I'll put it in there. Okay. Close. All right, let's get this going then. We have two people in, so give it maybe a minute, but we might as well. I mean, the first game is pretty lame anyways. I like this setup more. I tried to I moved my camera around, played with it, and I think I finally have what almost looks professional, although I'm literally resting one poster on another poster. I've been meaning to hang those up for over a year now, and I just keep, it's kind of like, my girlfriend's like, it's pretty tacky to hang them up like you used to, which was very archaic. So she wants me to get better framing, and I just haven't done that. I don't know. It just feels like such a lame thing to buy, or frames for posters. So I'm I'm winning. I don't know. I know this is also a super lame thing. I guess I'll just start it. Obviously, let's just recap last night. I mean, almost insanity. If Barkov got one more shot, I win $4,000 instead of $2,000. I will not complain. But yeah, I was watching the game in the locker room before I went out for a skate, just a pickup type thing, and people were like, "You're really you're really watching you think the Sabres?" They thought I was watching it Florida loses, that helps the Sabres. I'm sitting there yeah, let's go with that. Yeah, that's why I'm watching it. I'm not tilting. I didn't want to try to explain pick'ems to most of the guys are older, so I didn't want to be actually, I'm gambling in a really weird, unique way. I'm game stacking against the goal, all this shit. So I just was oh yeah, just in case, Sabres only a few points out, and I just look like an idiot instead of I didn't want to also get into the math and be yeah, it's almost a 0% chance the Sabres make the playoffs now. But yeah, it was fun. We got some GMs in the chat, so I think it's about time to get going. But yeah, no, it was pretty funny. It's just Barkov on the ice for 80% of that overtime. Had 3 chances to shoot. I get it. Trying to set up the perfect opportunity. Gets down to Montour, and I didn't think there was a chance he was going to shoot it. But the camera didn't even get to Montour. The puck was in the net. I was oh my God. I thought Montour was going back to Barkov for sure. Just it seemed like the perfect play. Get it down low, bring it right back to the slot. Barkov shot, and I'm just oh.
Montour. Yeah, except he just decided to do a turnaround and slap it out of the air.
Yeah, impressive as it was. It was very tilting. Yeah. But yeah, one shot away. Impressive. And just recapping a bit more, and I don't know. I know a lot of people probably don't really care that much, because if they're hitting, they're hitting. And if they're not hitting, they're not hitting. So it's not me saying, oh, this is why I did this. People are well, it didn't work, or it didn't work, right? So, but I guess I'll kind of a good segue into some more stuff if this ever shares. I mean, this is really the mentality of why last night was actually a good slate. I tweeted earlier, man, this slate sucks, but it sucks from a betting perspective when you're trying to cap money lines and puck lines, etc. Because both teams were such monster favorites that you bet and puckluck.com had, Chicago was a good bet plus 1.5. That was the better bet. It's not enjoyable. I don't like to bet that way.
Right.
And it did work.
It was plus 160, so you never see that.
Insane. Just insane value. And that's the thing is right. I don't mind putting that out there and betting it, but honestly, if I'm going to put if I was going to put another $50 down, like I'm just going to do a pick 'em, because if you look at the Corsi index here in the middle, I'm not sure if you can see my not that later. I'm going to reshare it really quickly. I think I messed up
choppy.
yeah, hold on. I got to fix it. I need to. Okay, I should be back now. Okay, now I have it correct. So basically, the mentality is if these big blue numbers here are really dark blue, that means that team is very likely in a normal game script, which again is what you have to predict with. You can't just say like, well, Florida's going to win by 5, because that's not a normal game script, and that's what some people do, and they get into trouble with pickups and stuff because they're like, well, if Florida gets up 3-0 early, then this goes to shit. But you just can't bet that way. Anyways, in a normal game environment, we're projecting, New Jersey, Carolina, and Florida tonight. Last night, Florida and the Flames were, darker blue than I've ever seen. So it's really, really good in that environment to say, I'm going to take the goalie against, as long as that goalie doesn't absolutely shit the bed, the other team is going to have a lot of shots. You can also find this at more of a long view look. Is it now today's targets, right?
Yep.
Hold on, let me pull it up. So the pace rank, which is just another indicator, if you're more into looking at it from a game environment perspective, this is like a team environment perspective, although you can kind of course your way through the game environment with the expected goal pace. But regardless, the first game of the slate, which is why I'm not that excited to talk about it, ranks as dead last. The worst pace game in the entire slate. Now, the majority of that pace should go to Boston. This does not make me feel good about game stacking this game, or if this was gamed on the last slate, I just would have not bet. I may have taken one piece. Right. Because of the environment. And the environments weren't unbelievable last slate, but the fact that Chicago and Anaheim are so incredibly bad, like Detroit isn't at that level of bad. It made them kind of nice to put into pick'ems like I did. And of course, we were one off hitting 4K. That's not going to happen every time. It's pretty insane that it kind of worked out in my favor with the right guys. But alas, anything you want to add to everything I just said?
No, and the pace rank's usually the good indicator. Like, will things go as expected every time? No, but when you have such a lopsided like event-based teams here, like Detroit and Boston, it's just not a good environment for that kind of situation. So
exactly, and again, it's like if things go wrong in this game, it might make it even worse than it already is. Like the only way this game goes in a direction that's favorable is if Detroit gets up big early. If they get 2 goals early, Boston probably pushes the pace enough to where they're going to be really good in the vacuum. But a lot of their, I think they're like guys that you're looking at for potential pick'ems are still just not even values. So to me, I don't know. I'm just not that interested in this game. Like I'm not including pieces. I think 27.5 is about correct, and I bet that's about what you have it. Again, so if you're thinking like which goalies are good values, this is free. If you want to take the Detroit starter, Hellberg, we have him for 30. That over isn't insanely bad. It's fine. That's a fine take. But like, if you're ever wondering, like, man, I really like this game environment, but like, is this too many saves? Go into puckluck.com/starting-goalies. You're going to see right here. Now he gets that 30 saves if he plays well. If he doesn't play well and he gives up 4.5, that you might not get the 30 saves you needed. It's kind of the variance you're playing there. Anything to add on that note before we start breaking down the games?
There's also a good chance, which you got to be kind of cautious of when you're betting goalie saves, is that like if it gets out of hand like that, if he gives up more than 4 goals, he could easily get pulled depending on the timing of those goals. So, and especially since he's a backup and Husso's just waiting there. They do play tomorrow, and Husso's expected to play tomorrow, but like you just got to be careful of those environments. But I am finding success just in a general broad perspective of betting goalie saves on the teams that are going to get pounded with shots. You take that goalie regardless of the adjustment on the other goalie in a rival's play, or go over on the saves, go higher on that. But because in general, the game script's going to call for that regardless. Even if the team does get up big, it's more of a puck possession thing and a Corsi thing than anything. So Those have been the keys to success, and we've been really successful in the last week and a half on those.
I'll ask you a more overarching thought. You generally, and I'm not always this way, I can be, but you generally pick the rival with the goalies. Is there any reason behind picking the goalie versus goalie rather than just taking I think this goalie is going to get pounded, so why not just take his over?
Yeah, see, taking over is fine. I like it. You can do it on any sportsbook. You can do it at Underdog Fantasy, but what I like with the rival play is more of a game script thing. So, the Anaheim Ducks, it's hard to tell if things get out of hand, they will get a decent amount of shots, but usually they're not very shot heavy team. So last night, when I was going with Calgary, who is a shot heavy team, it's just easier to say if things go as expected, the goalie for Gibson is going to have a significant more amount of saves than the Flames goalie. It's hard to tell exactly what that number is sometimes with the game environment. It could be a more loose environment at times, or power plays or something else could have an effect on that. If penalties are being called left and right, or if the refs eat their whistles. But that's why I generally lean towards the rivals plays, because there's usually about that advantage between the two goalies stays no matter how many shots there are total in the game between the two teams.
Yeah, definitely. I struggle with it a lot because it's last night I really was sitting there do I take Mrazek the difference or do I just take Mrazek over? And I'm just sitting there the whole time I swear to God, if Chicago gets up in this game, I'm going to punch a wall because I know it's going to get out. And it did. And that was, and the thing is that was so unexpected, but at the same time, I don't know. I felt safer about it, but then again, I know it'll, because that was the only one you've missed. It feels like in weeks was Bobrovsky rather than the 12 and again in that
higher hit
environment, I didn't think it was wrong, but it just got right. What?
Higher hit for Mrazek and even for Bobrovsky, it was right there. It was only a couple saves or whatever, but even with the crazy game environment, so
if Chicago, I don't know. If Chicago didn't score that goal, would it have hit? Because I think they had two at the. I don't know. It was really close. I think it was right on the line until Chicago scored, and then I don't think Bobrovsky saw another shot. But we can get into the slate now. I mean,
even through the majority of the game, while you're getting to the second game, even the majority of the game last night, Chicago was right there, shot for shot, and then Florida just went on a run in the second period. So I mean, it's that kind of stuff that'll happen. You can't always account for it, but. I didn't have as big an edge in that game as the other game anyway. So I kind of was a little more worried about that happening. But, yeah, let's get into the slate.
Okay, yeah. Glad you covered that because I think I was cutting out for a second. Pull everything up. Let me get rid of – I just want to hide this shit so can I make this – I want this to go away. Get out of here. I don't want you – whatever. Okay. First game, Detroit-Boston. Like I said, we're not going to spend a ton of time here. We already kind of overviewed it very basically on a very basic level. We think Boston should win the game, but the odds are, in my opinion, ludicrous. I hate Detroit. I think Detroit is incredibly bad. We have them as going to get pumped, and yet I'm just not clicking on this. It feels very unnecessary to take Boston minus 165 on the puck line. It just feels like you don't like money. I don't know if that's all I'm going to say about it. Is the under in play or not? I mean, as we're kind of indicating here, not really. It's just sort of to me, the way Detroit plays is kind of like people think the Islanders play. They want to play that way. They're just not as good as the Islanders used to be because they don't have Sorokin. So I really don't like this game. I honestly, probably to my own detriment, don't normally take the brunch games, if you will, and put them into as many bets and slips and things because they always screw me. It's probably just, my own recency bias on that, but I don't love it. We pull up the game projection. If it ever there it goes. So we have it as, I think almost exactly the 380. We have it as 373. So what are your thoughts?
Right, don't have a lot on this game. I mean, it is what it is. It's pretty much spelled out for you. I mean, Boston's a heavy favorite. Detroit's just fallen off completely. They're playing their backup goalie. It's really not a fun one to bet on. And if you're doing the early slate in DFS, it's not even a fun one, like we said, to stack anything. even if you wanted to try and get sneaky with a Detroit stack, it just doesn't project well. So
no. I totally could see people going and looking at last night, the winning lineup, of course, in the Discord, and then that never stops winning. Probably going to just take down the Fantasy Hockey World Championship in Colorado. I don't know if he's listening, but if he is, good luck today. Good luck to anyone in that Fantasy World Hockey Championship in Colorado. And he won last night with Derek Grant and Comtois in his lineup. And it's like, that's going to work sometimes. And on a 2-game slate, as you can see here, we kind of separate the 2-game slate out. I don't know, like variance can go your way. And people are going to be probably more interested in taking the Flyers than I think Detroit. But I don't have a lot of interest in this game at all. I don't even really think I want to include it in any of my bet slips. I just don't, like, maybe if you want to make a 15 leg parlay, you can, but I feel like you're just going to be like, man, well, my first leg already failed, so that one's dead. Now, one question we did get here, which I think is worth mentioning, is worth kind of getting the puck luck shot on goal projections usually favor the under, and I smash the overs. Well, I mean, first off, I'm mainly using all of my tools and stuff to just find overs. Like, I'm not really looking to find as many unders because, I don't know, probably to my own, again, like, it's probably not a good idea to just sit there and say, like, I'm only going to try to coerce the one good over in this game when there's probably 4 other good unders. But the projections I'm assuming you're talking about are on the player props.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say it's like, I'll let you speak for yourself and this stuff because you run this. So, like, what would you say to that?
Yeah, so I'll say it's kind of along with the lines of what you're saying. Like, yeah, the projections are like, basically I'm trying to pinpoint an exact number based off of a statistical model that can be maybe a tad conservative if you're finding it leans under a ton, but at the same time, like, so you're kind of looking at players that are likely to explode for big shot totals, and whereas the model's just trying to give you an accurate depiction of what they would do on average against this team, kind of thing. So, I mean, if you're right, if you do like look in the broad picture, like, it's more fun to bet the over, like Brett has just said. Unders do suck to root for. But like when you're looking at it, the broad perspective, like, most of these hit the under. They just do. Yeah. You're just not looking at those players necessarily on your over bets because there are ones that do lean that way, but. Yeah, so if you see, like, what do we have there? 2.87 for Marchand. Is that what it says?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's set at 2.5. Like, yeah, we're saying over on that, but it's set at 3. It's more likely to hit 3 than it is to hit 2. But so do you want to lean under there? Maybe, but it's more likely to hit 3 than it is 2, and you have that chance for a push. So. I mean, it's really just a preference of your betting, but we're just trying to nail down a more accurate depiction of how many shots on goal each player is going to have, so then we can get those shots on goal totals right for goalie saves and the whole broad picture of everything.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak for the entire community of touts that do player props, but I think a lot of player props people are more just exact results based. And this is not results based. This is projection based. This is like what we are projecting to happen now, not what just happened before. So, like, this is a tool that I use to try to, like, just see what has happened at a little bit. Oh wait, it didn't show. It's not showing up, is it? Hold on.
And while you're looking at that, so it is a question. It's a question with anything that you're betting on, right? So the puck luck picks every single day, they're not the ones that are most likely to hit. It's the ones where we're showing an edge. So you're just looking for that edge, whether it's under or over or anything like that when you're actually betting it. You're not looking at the actual projection. So, like, the Sabres game on Thursday, it's funny because my girlfriend actually asked me, she's like, do you think the Sabres will win? And I said no. And she's like, oh, so you're betting on the other team? And I'm like, no, I'm betting on the Sabres. And she's like, how does that make sense? And I'm like, well, because we're showing a greater chance of the Sabres winning than the sportsbooks are. But that doesn't mean they're most likely to win. They still had under 50% chance.
Did they ever?
Sorry to bring that up.
I was there. No, it's okay. It's okay. But what I was trying to show was this, which again, it's just an internal thing I use. It's not anywhere else because I'm not going to try to walk anyone through our studio at even a very basic level, let alone, it doesn't matter. This is all from Natural Stat Trick. Everything that you're seeing here is naturalstattrick.com, and I'm not going to try to make that word come out of my mouth. It's put together in a digestible package. But I perceive looking at Boston, Detroit, it's like this is what's happened as far as just actual shots are concerned. Like not on goal. Shots on goal are over here. I can sort my shots on goal if I want for the last 10 or 5, or I can play with this sheet as much as I want. The broad point I'm making is that using a projection and then using an actual together, and when they agree, is really good. But only using one or the other, in my opinion, doesn't always jive with me, because I don't want to speak to yours exactly, but one thing we used to try to do was use as much data as possible. You think like the more data, the better, right? Like let's use last year's, maybe not 2 years ago, maybe we'll weight it differently. And all this work to try to figure out exactly what the magic sauce was. And everything we were doing to get as much data as possible was not performing even close to as good as just using the past 10 games, because players' roles change immensely over a year. Looking at the past 10 games, looking at the past 5 games, and also keeping in mind what's happening, like actually what's happening. Like Nino Niederreiter is in a different position now on Winnipeg without Dubois in the lineup, at least, than he was in Nashville. Like it's just a different environment entirely. So you have to understand all of these things when making bets, which is why it's been kind of difficult for us to put something together and that was kind of the goal this year. It's like, let's get something together that people can go to and just see exactly what's being spit out. Like this is an over, this is an under. It's been really hard because you don't want to use too little data, because if you use too little data, like I'm saying, you might get into the trap of, well, I'm just going to take the player that is consistently hitting. The odds are getting way, way worse, and they probably shouldn't be hitting as much as they are. And now you're getting, the 5th game in, we're finally showing it up. And that's the game that's been the worst actual percentage odds comparatively to the money you already missed out on, if that makes sense. But I do think it's worth using both. So in my opinion, the under and the over and et cetera, using just puckluck.com projection is not the only thing you should be using. And it's not the only thing. I mean, I use it every time. Like I double check it. Like I like to try to have both of them line up. If it's close enough, sometimes I'll kind of go with what's happening right now. But I did think that was an important question and a good note. And we've gone 25 minutes without even covering one game entirely. And our plan was not to go too long. So
we always do it.
With all that being said, in this game, I mean, Bergeron feels okay, but again, like the only way I'm including this is if I really want to try to jam a 15-leg parlay right now, and I'm just not including that plus 115 because that 4 seems a bit fraudulent. I almost would rather Perron, as I kind of showed in the 2 games. Like he's shooting just as much as Bergeron, and his role has been very, very, very big. He should be on that top line with no more Bertuzzi, because Bertuzzi's on the other team now. He's still here, just he's on Boston. His role has been really, really big. And going over here, a sheet from NHL Wookie in the Discord, which right now is probably looking like you're squinting and trying to figure out what you're looking at. Zoom in a whole lot. If we go to so this is top power play unit with shot share. So this is the percentage of shots, I believe, only with all these players on the ice. I don't want to speak for Wookie entirely. He might be watching if he wants to comment on a little bit more, but basically this is, I just use it for verbatim. I don't really know exactly everything that goes into it, but let's find Detroit. Oh, it's only the main slate. I think we don't have Detroit on this one, but I tell you right now, Perron is shooting a lot on the power play. We'll get back to this on the main slate. So everything I just said to say, basically I'm almost entirely fading this game, but I'll pull this to the side. And I'll pull Marchand Point to the side. Those are probably the 2 that I would, in the vacuum, consider. Where's the Brusque every time, right? Is it just the Brusque? What do we have? Yeah, it's probably just okay. Wookie's here, perfect. Shot attempt percentage over recent number of games. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay. Perfect. So I didn't know how many games it was. That was really my main question. It's probably DeBrusque. Honestly, DeBrusque is probably actually a good bet here for a point in a vacuum. But again, point props can be super frustrating. Let's move on before we cover this game any longer. I hated the game to begin with. This game, like I said, is a bit better as far as if you look at this. It's like Pittsburgh is in a pretty good spot, in my opinion, to be useful. I don't think it's anything that I'm going crazy on because the odds, as far as the sportsbook are concerned, are still pretty bad. Pulling up the puck luck projections for the game projections again, clicking through a lot of things for you. I'm sure it's riveting as it loads. I just, again, I don't think I'm laying this line, but I think it's fine. But I would put like a small over, like the over 3.5. I think if anything here, if you're really into like, I want one line on this game for one of these teams, I bet the over 3.5 for Pittsburgh isn't terrible. It's pretty bad. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not good. Yeah. If anything, based on the puck luck lines, it leans betting towards Philly today, which it almost never does. So, so that being said, like it's something.
Oh, they nuked it. Yeah, they nuked this one. Like the Penguins that played well. I think it's really factoring in the importance of the game for Pittsburgh rather than. Yeah, it's brutal. That is just a brutal thing.
But it should be said, like when they factor that kind of stuff in, or when the public factors in like the importance of the game, it really does not like amount to anything numerically. If you're looking just at stone cold results, like look at last night, how well Chicago played against Florida. Florida almost blew that game. So it's
100%.
It really, you have to look at these games in a vacuum, and all that noise from the outside, you just kind of block it out and just go based on numbers here. I mean, if you want to lean one way because of it or the other, I'm not going to discourage you, but when the numbers actually say Philadelphia, I would stay completely off Pittsburgh today.
Yeah, I agree. It's totally up to you on that front. It's like I want to bet. I really want to click on that too. Like I just want to be like, you know what? Screw it. I'm clicking on Pittsburgh. I just cannot do it at that price. That is just, you're adding way too much variance at that price, in my opinion, because I don't think it's that much of a slam dunk. I'm just going to pull up the last 5 games because Philadelphia is almost useless in their last 10 still because Konechny has 3 games involved, and I don't believe he's back today. Gensel's been awesome. Tippett's been awesome. Like I said, we project Pittsburgh to have a good number of shots here. I've been jamming Gensel. He had 3 shots in the first period the other night, finished with 3, broke my heart. Don't love that, obviously, when you're thinking that one's coming any second now. One of my absolute favorites on every slate is just, you go all the way down to Mr. Raquel, and he's just priced infinitely different than Crosby and Gensel for seemingly no reason. He's been very involved other than just the production doesn't hit at the same level, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. He's been really I'm So don't know. I know a lot of people like that second line a lot with Rust and Zucker. It's all fine. The Rust new dad narrative. Now that is a good point. Rust is a new dad, so he's guaranteed to score tonight. That's great. Actually, why are we don't have to go any further. Rust scoring. Easy bet.
I don't know. It might be tough for him to shake off the rust.
Oh, but yeah, I don't think there's anything too, like 7.2 attempts per game over the last 5 is really good. I'm fine with taking that myself. And like the shots aren't getting on net as much as others. So like only 18 on goal in his last 5, shooting 7. Like that means he's getting pretty unlucky. Like that is not a number that, and like this is Jake Gensel. This is a really good hockey player. This isn't like a defenseman or something like that is just kind of blindly throwing the puck on the net. Like, I mean, that is a lot of attempts to get 18 shots on goal. So he's probably due for some positive regression at this rate. I mean, I love Crosby, who's getting more pucks on net than Gensel, shooting, I mean, not a ton less attempts, like 1 per game, but, like 6, 7 attempts less.
We should mention, based on the pace rankings on today's targets at Puck Luck, it's the number 1 ranked game of the entire day, not just the early slate. Yeah. So it is interesting in that regard. If Philly does answer back with some shots and the game opens up a little bit, Pittsburgh could hit some big numbers.
Thing is, like, I honestly just think it's Gensel. Like, I think this is a good price. He's probably a 3 again. He's probably going to rank as one of the best values. So anything, if you're wondering again, anything better than plus 138. So like 3.5 plus 130, that is still technically a value if it's a 3 and a push. So that might have been kind of confusing. Let me kind of roll it back. So Gensel is a 3. If he was plus 130 or better, 138, which it doesn't really get offered, but whatever, that makes it a value in a 3. So the added value of the push plus the added value of the potentially hits over 3.5, in that it's still like a EV positive bet. Now, I know some people don't like adding pushes to their slips. I don't care. I like them fine. Like, it doesn't really bother me any. It's kind of like, instead of clicking this insurance button, I kind of already did that in my slip, because I'm saying that this is like, the chances of him getting 3 are pretty high, like very high in my opinion, especially in this environment. So I don't need to click this made up button that I just wish it wasn't even there, because it tempts me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any thoughts on insurance in a slip, or is it just like you don't really care? You don't
I never use it. Yeah, it's like when you're taking insurance in blackjack, like it's just a sucker thing that you should never do, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel the same, but like then I get my results and I'm like, I would just have more money. Like, straight up, I'd have more money. So whatever. Gensel.
Well, in that case, just make smaller slips. In that case,
but what if I could get into that conversation deeper on like the size of my slips and why I do it the way I do it, but right. I think that's something for a different time, because it's honestly like I don't even have all the math in front of me right now and trying to explain it. But regardless, a lot of shot props are probably fine. The other one, like I kind of already alluded to, I think Crosby is totally fine at minus 145. He's been shooting a ton, very involved. I mean, you could even try to talk yourself into the narrative of like, it's against the Flyers. Like he hates the Flyers, but that's probably completely stupid. Rust or Zucker, do you have any lean either way on one of them? I think they kind of show up as the exact same thing and technically a value at 2.
I lean towards Rust a little bit in that scenario for sure.
Yeah, so we have what? Where even are they? Okay, so 3.4 attempts. So Zucker's not shooting. Am I blind? Where is Rust? Oh, he missed games, so he might be still 2.5. My heavens. My heavens. Okay, never mind. Screw those guys. They stink. Okay, moving on. Any other things in this game? Anything you want to note? Flyers, or just move on?
I'm just gonna note a couple things that have been working recently at Puck Luck is player props, but more long shot attempts at player props. So we've been hitting pretty successfully the last goal of the game. Jake Gensel's the one major candidate here. When it's a game that's favored for Pittsburgh that heavily, he's the one who's scoring that empty netter most of the time, and obviously he's most likely to score in the game of any player. So what does it pay? Plus 850 on DraftKings, I see. So if you're looking to do something just a little more long shot, throw a few bucks on a Flyer or something like that, and not a Philadelphia Flyer, but a Flyer on a pick. Something like that for Gensel could be good.
What is Forrester for a goal?
He's not in there. He was going to be. Yeah, I just looked at it because he's sneaky good for a goal in this game, but he's just not listed. They just didn't put him on, even though he played last game.
Yeah, but he's right here for a power play point.
For a power play point? Well, they didn't put him on for a goal.
I was like, oh, but he's here. He's not on it. He's not there for goals. Like, I'm not. That's so strange. Yeah, no. As Wookie mentioned, no, I totally agree. Like that was something I got into too when I was doing Mail Media Network more, and I hit like 2 in a row, and people are like, "Are you a god?" And I'm like, "No, I just know who's going to be on the ice, kind of." So yeah, no, I agree. That stuff is probably way sharper.
Let me talk about last goal quick, because I've been doing some research into it pretty heavily since the beginning of the season. So like Wookie, it's interesting because first and last goal pay the same on the sports books, and I feel like it's more likely that you can project the last goal, just because of the players against an empty net. It's so limited, the pool of players that teams will put out there. Usually it's defensive guys. Some teams like to put some of their more offensive guys out there. In this case, Pittsburgh relies on the Crosby line heavily in that situation. So you'll see Raquel and Gensel out there a lot. Against the empty net, and usually it's a winger who gets up the ice first, so centers are a little more less likely to score that empty netter. Of course, that can all change if like the puck gets into a weird spot, but so like Ovi is a good example too, where he's out there every single situation against an empty net. He's usually most likely to score. The odds aren't great. They usually range from like plus 750 to plus 850 for Ovi. But if they're winning in the team pulls an empty net, pulls their goalie against them, he's out there looking to score because obviously he's chasing that Gretzky record. But it's been successful for me in the last week. I've hit on Brandon Tanev with the Seattle Kraken because he's just using that situation so much, and it pays plus 2,500. Like it's insane. I hit on who did I hit on? Nico Hischier. It was plus 1,000, but I put him out there with the intention of the empty net situation, and the game ended up going to overtime, and he was out there and scored in overtime. So I actually hit on it 4 times last week out of the 21 bets that I put, which is just an insane hit. That probably won't ever happen again. But
that is
that is if you put 21, 3. If you do 3 a day, that's 21 bets a week, right? You need to hit at plus 433 odds, I think, to make money. And it's you can obviously those pay a lot better than that. So,
and you tweet those, right? Yeah, I mean you're tweeting those, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I tweet them. So so I only put one on the site every single day. Personally, I bet 3 of them, but I put one on the site, the one that I think is the most interesting. That could be, maybe not most likely, but like the biggest edge.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of forgot that first game started. I was going to try to get a 15 legger in before 1:30, and it did start. And as Wookie mentioned, Detroit's already up 1-0. So hopefully you took our advice and faded the Bruins, especially their puck line, which I just could not believe when I saw it. But okay, game 3, the game I don't want to talk about at all, the Buffalo Sabres game. It's not fun to be a Sabres fan ever, but more so now than ever, I believe. Your model always likes the Rangers a good bit.
When Shesterkin's in that, yeah.
Is he?
Well, even Halak. No, I don't think it was announced yet. Oh, yeah, it is.
DraftKings has him up, so yeah. I just nearly never bet on Sabres games unless if I'm going, and I'm not going. So you can already pencil me down as. They never announce it, but it's almost it's like 99.9% UPL.
Yeah, that's who I have projected in there right now, but I could see them going with Craig Anderson just because of the fiasco last game. Going with
that is the only option. I can,
but I don't know.
I can. Let me just take a quick peek. I thought I looked. Oh my god. Okay, I'll look while we do this. But I mean, regardless, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter. Like I know Sabres Nation, everyone listening that's a Sabres fans, like, dude, like Craig Anderson's good. Like, look at this number here, and I'm like. Okay, if you want to believe that in the Craig Anderson magic fairy dust, like that's fine by me. Like he's not been a train wreck, but I'm not going to be buying it. He's a maybe replacement level average goalie, and that looks good in Buffalo right now. But he's not actually that good, so not going to bet this game. Yeah. Not going to bet the Sabres. I also just don't think. Let me actually, you know what? Before I say that, because the Sabres pushed pace enough. Nope, it's 14th. I was going to be right. Should have just stuck to my guns. I don't think this game's going to have a ton of value, a ton of shots, a ton of upside. The Rangers have been pretty boring. They're, to me, just sort of a bit of a mess in their own right. And yeah, I don't think I'll pull this sheet up again. They just haven't had anyone take the lion's share of the shot volume, and it's been frustrating. So I think the Sabres should maybe be a little bit better for a shot prop perspective because of the concentration that exists within a few players, but it's pretty ugly there too. Any overarching thoughts?
No. Usually in this situation, I'd be like, let's look at power play points for the Rangers guys because Sabres penalty kill is so bad and the Rangers power play is so good. But the fact that they split it up and now it's basically 50-50 power play time, it's impossible to know who to bet. Like it doesn't narrow down the field. So maybe if you get some crazy good plus odds, if someone's like plus 400 or something that's on one of those units, then maybe you go with it. But I don't know. Like Patrick Kane scored a power play goal last game, but then Zibanejad's their best power play scorer and he's on the other unit. So who knows?
Yeah, it is just a galaxy brain decision that it's just stupid. There's really nothing else to say. I don't know how they possibly thought that was a good idea, but alas. So not great pace, not a great game. Probably nothing here that's going to scream value. Let's just pull up the shot props those to see if there's anyone that does jump off the page. Unless if Panarin's 2, he's not. I would take Panarin at 2, but 2.5 just feels risky. Like he's just not shooting enough. Cousins is 2. I'd probably do it. He shouldn't be. He's been shooting more. He loves burning me, but it's okay. I love Dylan Cousins, so he can do that if he wants. Skinner, yeah. I mean, I don't think Patrick Kane's wrong in a 2.5. Like if you want to include it in a slip, you could even use the Buffalo narrative to drive it all the way home if you'd like. But this game's pretty thin all around. Nothing I'm losing my mind over. But Kreider is going to end up being a very small value almost. I don't know. Anything here? Anything standing out from any perspective? Nope. Perfect. Yeah, I'm just going to not click on any of these names. Tarasenko's been a weird one. I mean, like if you look at his game log too, it's like he's either 100 shots or no shots, and there's no in between. It kind of blows my mind. I just don't know why he seems to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will note for I mean it's too late now. Slate started, but for daily fantasy purposes, I feel like Pittsburgh and Philly just had so much of an advantage playing those guys compared to the other two, just simply because of the pace ranks today. I mean, these other two games are dead last and second last in pace rank, which is just I wouldn't necessarily expect it when I was looking at the Sabres, but that's why I run the numbers just to kind of preclude my bias there. But
yeah, I'm down with Showtime 2.5 and move on. Like he has been shooting.
Yep.
It's not been great, but he's fine. I don't think he's a value at 3. When you have 14 games to pick from now, I just don't think you're doing yourself any favors. There's no other Ranger that's been shooting enough for me to feel like I need to pick them. None of them show up as a monster value. Buffalo side, same song and dance. Like the only players I feel like are worth tanking at all are these 3. They're all priced correctly. This does not look like a great matchup for them at all. 27.5 is probably on the number. So I say we move on to the game everyone will be watching and interested in, and that's Arizona and Colorado, the most important game on the slate if you're a Colorado fan only. Detroit is up 2-0 as we see here. So, boy, maybe a Boston shot prop would have been in play. As I said, I'm like, they're very in play if that happens, but it did. So this game, it's like you would think Arizona might be a value, and you'd be like, I think almost correct, but not even quite. Even with this big of a spread, they're not. I can't imagine putting on 4 condoms and clicking on Colorado puck line, but maybe some of you can actually get there. It's ugly. I don't. Yeah,
I know it's not great. It's just a mild lean. Like there's 3% edge on it, so it's not crazy.
All right, they're not even in this or that. There's just really nothing it's brutal. Colorado's very, very good defensively as well. Yeah, no, there's these first game. I mean, all these afternoons games suck, but man, this one.
It also depends with Colorado. We don't know who's in goal yet, right? Is it confirmed that it's Gorgiev?
Last I checked, no, but yeah, I think
they don't play tomorrow, so it's possible they go with Gorgiev. Even against
this was
Arizona,
the first game that Francois could play. I could be wrong, but I thought isn't Francois like potentially back?
He's potentially back, but he wasn't. I don't think he practiced in the normal practice yesterday. I think it was Johansson, which could sway things a little bit. Obviously, if Johansson's in that, that's why I bring it up.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything to indicate who is in net other than it's probably Georgiev. Yeah. Player point wise, I'm fine with probably almost anything, but I normally just side with Nurtushkin. I didn't last game to my luck, I guess, because he seemed like a value, but I just didn't think it was worth slipping in. I think I would like something more, and I didn't want to get crazy, but he's fine. Still with McKinnon. McKinnon and Lehkonen. You can look at Erod and Comfer. What's Comfer's odds? Because he's still top power play. It's probably just as good, but I just think Nurtushkin's such a better hockey player that depending on the size of your slip, but neither of these are things that I'm jamming. And like putting it like it's not like if I have like a 6 core plays, nothing's making it in this game. I don't even really want to look at Arizona because I'll probably talk myself into Barrett Hayton or something stupid, and I'll be sad when Colorado just takes the puck and never. Oh, it's Erod up on power play 1. You don't say. You just don't say. Was it really? I feel like I probably retweeted those lines too.
I was watching the game. It was Confer for at least for the period.
Yeah, I mean they skated. Yeah, they skated during home. I'm trying to find it. Trying to see if they ran power play lines. Where'd you see that? I don't know. I'll look. We'll look. That would be fun though. But last 5, it's been McKinnon shooting a lot, McCarr shooting a fair amount as he's been back, but like it's 5.25 if you can't read it too closely. So it's like not that much value in my opinion. Rantanen's barely been shooting. It's like nothing here feels great from a shooting perspective. I just can't. Yeah, no, he's saying I retweeted it, and I probably did retweet it. So I want to find it. Colorado power plays. I'm going to look at that really quickly. So, yeah, I don't think any shots are in play. Like 3.5. I mean, you're saying he's going to get 4 on goal. He's shooting like 5 a game. I know the last game, I'm pretty sure he had a ton. But I mean, it's just to me, it's like if they do what they did against the Sharks where they just took the puck and never gave it back, any of these guys could maybe hit, right? Like that's fine. But I think betting on that is kind of thin. So – yeah, I'm going to look into this Erod power, this point and power play point. Where is he for power play point? It's probably real good if he's even listed. Well, he's not.
Of course not.
Did I really retweet that? Okay, so practice lines. I can't find it. Whatever. I'm not going to focus on this any longer. I'll look into it after. This game doesn't start till like 6 p.m. Eastern time. We have plenty of time. I'll keep both of them here, and I'll post after the game. Let's move forward with keeping those 2 in mind. Nothing like St. Louis Columbus to get you going. I actually think this game probably will have some interesting things in it. Let me get to the pace ranking. 9. Yeah, 9 sounds about right.
Yeah.
Columbus, St. Louis. So the St. Louis right here. I think the interesting thing about St. Louis is just the opportunity and role for some of their players in general that are going to pop. And finally, Columbus, I feel like they just had so many bad matchups every time I talk about them. But this actually feels like a good one. Game projection-wise, got to go down 1. Yeah, so 6.26. Like that's about what I think it's going to be as well. Like definitely in that ballpark. St. Louis, pretty big favorites for puck luck. So I think it's fine. But what are your thoughts overall?
So overall, I think St. Louis obviously is the pretty big favorite. There is a strong edge on betting them on the money line. It's listed at -115, I believe, right now on DraftKings. So yeah, 130. 130. Yeah, so it moved. Yeah, so that it's still a good edge there. So that's where I would lean if you want to do -1.5. You get big odds, and with a team that's projected or has a win probability of over 60%, it's a good possibility that they do end up getting like that empty netter or go up to it towards the end of the game at any point. So
Wyatt, this is why it moved, but we should have known. We knew this because Korpisalo got traded, Emmers Lincolns went home. He went back to
he went home because of
I can't remember. I think he's like Finnish or something. So Hutchinson's in net. I really don't care. Like if you're sitting there saying like, oh man, Merce Lincoln's is gone and it's Hutchinson in net, this makes a huge difference. You're probably just overthinking.
It doesn't.
Like, they're both probably below replacement level goaltenders in any capacity. So the books factored that in. It kind of sucks. They shouldn't have. The Blues have a few guys it's like every point prop in this game. Except I don't know if I'm getting the Buchnevich shot plus 190 at 1.5, but
let's leave with this, DJ. Let's leave with that. Alexei Torpachenko has just a huge expanded role now, being on that first line with Kyrou.
But I hate it.
It's a unique situation because he doesn't really have great rates necessarily, but he's got that opportunity with Thomas and Kyrou. And when you have that opportunity, you could just be a benefactor just by being out there with 2 of the best offensive players on the team. Obviously, there's other guys who have other opportunity as well on the team that actually create their own offense with like Jacob Verana, but you have Torpachenko just sitting there.
These sons of guns will not put up Verana for shots, and that's really what it's all about today. Like that's the guy.
But his goal is anytime goal has been a huge value for Verana. I mean, 2 games ago he had 6 shots on goal. Last game he scored. So I mean, he's just a shooter. He has that scoring mentality, and he was like plus 300 or something last game to score in that hit. So plus 310, I think, or something on DraftKings. And you froze, DJ.
I froze because this is. Am I back now? It looks back.
Yeah,
this
you're
is
back.
Just thinking too hard. Am I back?
Okay. Yep, you're back.
Yeah. And as looking, it's like the Blues are trying a lot of things because they're bad and they're trying to like see what they have with some guys. Yeah, I mean, Kyrou is just so involved. It's hard to look past him and Buchnevich as far as their role. I mean, you could take Vrana for a point at plus 110. He's playing with Buchnevich at 5-on-5 and Kapanen. So Vrana for a point seems okay. Like I said, I think there'll be goals here. If you want safety, I think Kyrou is still fine for his point prop as well. For shots, as I kind of showed briefly, like Kyrou shooting a ton. I mean, 7 attempts per game. It's pretty much Gensel level. We think this game is close-ish, not pace-wise maybe, but they should control a lot of pace in this one. Yeah, I could be talked into kind of anything surrounding those top guys. Where the heck is this game? On Prize Picks. Am I blind? Wait. Oh, there it is. Oh, they have him at 3.5. Buchnevich for 2. That doesn't seem the stupidest. I don't know. Could you click on Buchnevich 2 shots? I don't know. I don't think they really want him shooting that much. Any thoughts on this? On any of these player props? These all feel bad.
Yeah, I don't love any of them necessarily.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly.
This is kind of a weird game too because it's been tough to like predict what St. Louis is recently with Verana and Kapanen in the lineup. They're just a weird, different team. And then Columbus is just falling off where like Marchenko was tearing it up, getting a lot of shots. Obviously wasn't getting any assists, but he was scoring, and now he's just gone cold. So, but they're keeping the same lines every single game. So I don't know. It's tough to lean with any props in that sense.
Wow, they actually let Torpachenko play this time too. Isn't that interesting?
The Verana power play point that Wookie brings up in the chat.
Let's see what we got. What do we got here?
It's tough though because he's not on that first unit. Now I know they're kind of 50-50, right? With their distribution. And he's the shooter. I mean, he is the shooter on that on that unit. So Wookie,
to me it's like
I will say for along the lines of what I was saying earlier with last goal, Brandon Saad's a real strong candidate for last goal. He's Brandon Saad's kind of the guy that they'll throw out there in defensive situations. And now that he's on a line with Braden Shen, like it seems like the default thing if they go up, if they're up late in the game and the goalie's pulled, is to throw out Braden Shen and Brandon Saad. So it's kind of easy to isolate Saad in that situation. I think it's plus 1,600 if he scores. But
yeah, it feels like there's a lot of very nice fringe bets, very nice, maybe like, not bets that you want to put in the monster parlay, bets that you want to put in as solo bets or something like that. But so Blues money line, fine. I think Kyrou for a point still is value. Like this guy is just the majority of their offense. Like it's not even I don't hear like projected goal wise, Vrana and Kyrou and Buchnevich are all sort of there, but like. Let's look. I don't want to say this without backing it up. Yeah, no, I mean, he's not even – him and Buchnevich are just a pretty good clip ahead of everyone else. It's not even enough for me to say, like, with confidence that this minus 185 is, like, actually great, but he's just so good. I don't know. Only 16 minutes, but they were winning. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna keep it. Let's just keep all these for now and move on. All of these are like, it's like the things that I think are an edge are not parlay pieces, and the things I think are parlay pieces aren't really an edge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
and
that makes
that's
sense.
the thing
Yeah,
is
that's
that's where
probably
our
smart.
mentality is different because you parlay all these props together, so you're looking for a different kind of bet than what I look for generally when I do the singles. So
Yeah. So I'll keep all these for now. We'll kind of get them all filtered out at the end, and we'll get to Winnipeg, Florida, which Florida on a back-to-back, but still this game should have a lot of pace. Florida,
Bobrovsky's
as we
still
mentioned,
again.
very nearly is.
Yeah,
What else are they going to
it's
do?
they're just going to play Bobrovsky into the ground. I think at this point.
So as happens often when Florida's trailing, they just let Barkov, the Chuck, Reinhart play all the minutes, as much as they want, as much as they can handle. Put them all in combinations. The top six is so heavily involved in every capacity. Luce Rainen's come on and just been very useful. I don't think he profiles to be the most prolific offensive player in the world, but he's scoring and playing in a pretty big role. Verhaeghe moved up to the top line and was there for the entire rest of the game after like they were losing. So I'm expecting the six
really
to
good.
look like it is here.
Yeah. Yep.
Wait, what?
He was really good
Yeah,
on
no,
that line when he moved up. It was the jolt they needed.
Yeah. Exactly. So if you're stacking or drafting or whatever you're doing today, I would project this and definitely double check when they hit the ice at 7 Eastern or 7 Eastern. As far as this game is concerned, it's not quite a pick 'em, but it's pretty close. I think a lot of people are going to fade this game, and it might be correct because we have it priced pretty much the exact same. Winnipeg is a team that I normally love and I normally try to pick, but I really think Florida is just a better hockey team in every capacity. The back-to-back scares me a little bit, but like I'm saying, Florida should still have a lot of shot volume. Winnipeg is it's definitely one of those situations where you could convince yourself Winnipeg's going to outscore their expected, but Florida should have more shots. And when that kind of stuff happens, that leads me even more in the favor of just taking a shot prop for Florida, because if they do get scored on enough, they're losing, they're trailing, all of their guys see a bigger role. And as I already showed you, when that does happen, they see a lot of minutes and a very big role. So I'm very interested going to Wookiees Magic here. It's pretty spread out, which is what I kind of already knew. But I think that if they had their druthers, they would either have the Tuck shooting as much as possible, and then having the point men stay involved, but they want to feed Reinhart in the slot. It's kind of like it's not condensed because they do a lot of different things to get the puck where they want it, and they don't really mind any of these three, Reinhart, Ekblad, Montour, shooting from a slot type area, but the Truck is more of your trigger man. So you can convince me kind of that like any of that could be exaggerated in a vacuum of one game. I think the Truck for 3.5 is totally fine. Bennett's been really strong, but not on that top power play. He only has a couple games since returning from injury, but he's been shooting a ton. So I don't think you're wrong there either. And then Reinhart is just never getting really bumped by the books at all. And he's been shooting way more than I think anyone except for the Chuck, although I didn't pull in last game since the last time I looked. 145 just kind of seems incorrect. So Bennett, only 3 games since being back, is the top at 7.67 shot attempts per game. The Chuck and Reinhart are very close. Montour tied with Reinhart at 7. That's kind of where I'm centering most of my stuff around. Only other note would be to double check on Duclair. He missed last game because of illness, I believe, and I don't know if he'll be back or not. So with everything I just said, I think Reinhart.
What I saw said he might play.
Yeah, and if he does, it's probably just Luce Rainen that loses some role.
Yeah,
I can't imagine it's going to affect anyone else. It's just my opinion. If Luce Rainen loses that role, it just makes that top 6 even better. I love Reinhart. It might be my fandom of Reinhart in general. Just I think he's a really good hockey player. For some reason, doesn't get the love and recognition he deserves. I think it's him, and like I said, he's shooting right now at the same rate as the Chuck. And the only thing that normally would talk you out of that is power play, and they're shooting the same on the power play right now. So it's like there's nothing to indicate to me that the Chuck is shooting any more than Reinhart, and they're priced the same with the whole shot difference. So, yeah, I think that's totally fine. Bennett, totally fine. Those are my main leans here in this game.
I agree. And if you're a believer in the goaltending in this game, obviously the Hellbuck-Bobrovsky matchup is a pretty strong one as far as goalies go. I would say if you're a big believer in the goaltending, the under is a good play on this. Yeah, there will be shot volume, but if you think Hellbuck, can bounce back to what he was, the 3/4 of the season, then the under should be a strong play.
Yeah, they're not really offering up any value here as far as these are concerned. Maybe Verhaeghe point is value, but I almost want to he'll be in the top 6. Not top power play, but that seems okay. They aren't even offering Hellebuck, but as we showed here, 32.5 seems awfully steep. For a team on a back-to-back, I mean, even if Florida, I love today, 33 shots on goal is like,
yeah.
You're really hoping Florida, the game script goes the right way.
I mean, they're a shot-heavy team, but I have it projected for 31.4, so it's not.
Yeah, it seems a little bit thin. Yeah, I think the best bet in this game is just Reinhart. If you like Bennett more for some reason, he's fine, but doesn't get top power play. Verhaeghe, again, really, really good for a point probably, but not top power play, and they just seemingly don't put him there. What are his odds? It's -135. I mean, that is value. -135 in a slip does add value. So are you interested? I mean, that's really the only one because all these 3 for pushes aren't really going to show up as a value because of the game environment. Like yesterday against Chicago, they were much better, even though it was only like 8 total shots. It just made it a better add to a slip. But this Verhaeghe point's probably the one and only on that top line that I'd consider. Is it worth it though? Probably not.
I have it -124, so it's not really.
Probably not.
It's not quite there.
Yeah. I think the only player in a shot volume that would actually be not even Barkov dropped. Yeah, let's just move on. I'll come back to Underdog and we'll look at this a little bit closer. For none of these feel fantastic for Florida because all of them feel like you're like one of these is definitely going to hit and it's going to hit really early, and then it feels like you're playing musical chairs because as I showed, a lot of guys are shooting a lot. They have what? 1, 2, if you include Duclair, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players about 5 attempts per game right now. That's a ton. Okay. Anything on Winnipeg? Let's take a peek because I don't think this is going to be like I don't really believe Florida is the best defensive team in the free world. So Kyle Connor shooting a lot, shocking. Morrissey's shooting a lot, even more shocking. Yeah, nothing
I think
stands
they've
out.
been priced pretty normally though, which is an issue. Like they've kind of figured out Winnipeg's pricing, and Winnipeg as far as I feel like they've been more. You're betting more on efficiency in this game than you are on the value.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
if you're betting on efficiency, you're going to player points, and I think probably not clicking on any of them. I mean, Nino, if he's still in the top line, top power play -125, but
he's been the value, but it's still like he hasn't been producing, so it's tough to be like, oh yeah, Nino.
If they should be producing and they're not producing, they still do not give you money as far as betting is concerned. He scored last game though.
He did score
5, and he did see 20 minutes, man. It's just like I don't think we know about Dubois yet. I'm not going to put it in for now. I'm keeping Reinhart. Let's move on. They're going to take 9 years at this point if I keep slowing down and looking at every single player. We have Vegas and Carolina, a battle of the 2 best teams in the world. I'm not going to say that. Carolina, I think, is like legitimately unreal, and Vegas is maybe good. I haven't decided. This game is going to, I guarantee, project not fantastic. Where is it? Yeah, 3rd pace. What is even happening?
Yeah, it does.
Well, I guess it does.
Vegas is a high.
Really well.
Well, obviously Carolina is a high shot volume team, but Vegas, they give up a lot of shots, but they also take a lot of shots. So they're a high event team.
You don't say. Well, this is intriguing then. But let's start where we always start. Let's start with the money line. Holy crap, -205.
Yep.
Do they not even know Vegas is like kind of good? Are they forgetting that they win games?
Yeah, but Quick has to be in that.
They're good.
Yeah. Do you want to rely on Jonathan Quick?
Yeah, he has to try.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Hill's hurt, so Hill's out.
Okay, it has to be right. Yeah, I don't think there's another option. Wow, that is shocking. I did not think it'd be this crazy. I thought.
I don't think it's confirmed yet who's in net for Carolina, but I don't really care if it's Anderson or Kochetkov. Kochetkov's obviously he got shut out coming up from the AHL. He's been just as good as Anderson or Ranta most of the time when he's in the net. So
yeah, this is shocking. We probably priced correctly. Sadly, I don't love that.
Yeah.
I was hoping we'd find something real nice here. So, yeah, as far as power play, I mentioned this on that Nordic pod last time, but, like, especially Nates are the guys on the top unit. Those in net front, I'm not interested in him. He doesn't really touch the puck a lot. He just kind of is a nuisance and ruins correlation for us. Shots, I mean, Riley Smith, 1.5. I keep wanting to bet him to get shots on goal. He's the guy that's shooting the most on the power play. I don't know why it keeps dropping other than he keeps not hitting. It would probably be the main indicator. Let's pull up BGK in Carolina. I do think, though, like, as our everything is showing, like, Carolina should have a good number of shots. So I'll probably go back to them here. I'm hoping Vegas, we're going to pull this up next, I already had it up while this is loading. Let's just go back to it. Where are we at? Aho, Teravainen, Burns. They bumped up Svechnikov. And they dropped Nachos. He only had 2 last game. I was actually trying to look into that more because I bet Nachos, and that game was a bit of a mess. Who did they play? They played on where they played Philly. That's right. And he only had 2 shots, and I was pretty mad about that. Let's see what happened. I don't think I ever went back and looked. Where is he? He only had 2 shot attempts. What a loser. They're both on the power play. What's wrong with you at 5-on-5, Nachos? You allergic to shooting? No one on his line even shot. Kakaniemi had 1. Did Philadelphia just bully them?
I mean, it was kind of a surprise game for them.
If only we could look, and we can. Nachos. Looks like they controlled the puck pretty well. Why weren't they putting it on net? All right, Carolina, you've done pissed me off. Why would you do this to me? You're going to make me bet Nachos again. Okay. Holy crap, Gossip Bear. Chill out. Has it to Nachos. Burns is shooting a lot. Svechnikov is shooting a lot. Gossip Bear shooting a lot. And then Aho and Nachos are tied. Damn, I don't know. I kind of want to click on Nachos again. I feel like that's probably stupid, but I don't like this. I wanted this to be easy. What do you think?
I mean, Nachos is the guy that I would lean to. And if you're looking at
Did someone say positive regression for Nachos?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'd be looking at. And then as far as like,
it just feels wrong.
As far as like my favorite bet in this game, it's probably an Ivan Barbashev point. I mean, he's plus 135 just to get a point, and he's the highest correlated player with Eichel and with Marchessault. So, like, why wouldn't you? You know,
I see no reason why not. Yeah, someone mentioned Jarvis for 2. What is he shooting at right now? Where's old Bart Harley Jarvis?
I feel like Jarvis goes in streak.
Yeah. 3.8 attempts per game. Let's take a wider view. Let's try to talk ourselves into betting something.
Mm-hmm. I have Jarvis projected at 1.8. So
4.6 over the 10. What about the full season? How about we look at every single game this guy has played this year? And we find him at 3.78 attempts per. It just feels thin, man. Like he just doesn't shoot enough. And he doesn't get enough power play run to make it. Like that was the thing about Jarvis going into the year. It was like first power play, first line, forward, and then it just hasn't happened, and it's just been very frustrating.
Yep.
When did Vegas play last? Did they play on Thursday? I feel like they beat Tampa. I bet that game. That's right. That was one of the times they looked smart. So Barbashev, not first power play, second power play. Are they like? Why did they put Amadio on this top power play? Like, did they just not like being good? I don't get it. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
ideal
Honestly, this
for
is probably
correlation,
the
but
best point. It's like Svechnikov is just hogging all the shots. Honestly, it
yeah,
might even be just like, is he 3? I mean, I think you're just between the two. Like Nachos 2.5 or Svechnikov 3, and you're making your pick there and saying like, if Nachos gets a favorable bounce, this is going to hit with ease, and Svechnikov should have 3 shots on goal. Like very likely to have 3, but if you get a push, are you going to lose sleep over it? Especially if you're just pairing it with Gensel. I think I'm going to keep Nachos myself. I think it's just Vegas adding value, but yeah, that seems, I don't know. I think, a Barbashev is probably a really nice straight bet. Just put $20 on him. If you put $20 on him every time he's at plus 135, you're going to come out ahead. In a big parlay, if you're doing like an 8-leg, probably not that safe. Nothing in this game feels unbelievably safe, but I do think Jonathan Quick is truly not very good. So if you're also going down that narrative, you could probably talk me into point props as well. And that's kind of where I think Jarvis comes into play better than taking him for his shot prop. Like, he's going to be playing with Aho and Svechnikov at 5-on-5. And if I go back in time to when I had that game up before, I do believe he gets the second power play gets some run. Yeah, I think it's not like they don't get any run. Like they'll see a little bit of time.
They get more now that Gostisbehere's there, so I think they
Yeah.
like throwing him out there a little bit more.
Yeah, no, for sure. And Gostisbehere's not getting as much minutes as you need to bet him. So if you find him somewhere for shots or something, like he's shooting a ton in the window he's shooting because they're like, okay, you are an offensive specialist and a power play 2 specialist, and you're going to see very little other than that. Actually, you know what? Just to try to look if I can prove this point to make myself look smarter, because that's all I care about. Let's look at his zone development. Okay, it's dead split. So congratulations to me. I played myself. I assumed he would take 0 defensive zone draws, but I guess in the second period they decided to do one of those. Okay,
we should probably
we'll see if that changes.
Keep moving, but I will say for this game, there's another last goal candidate. Obviously, Carolina is the more heavily favored team. A little over 60% is where I like to bet these last goals, and it's that Stahl line, right? So Stahl or Martinook, and today I think Stepan's on joining that line. So, they're out there against the empty net situation a lot. So is Aho's line, but in general, it's that Stahl line that they're looking to win that faceoff in the D zone with. So Martinook getting up the boards could be a sneaky play, but I just don't expect them to score throughout the game at any other point necessarily. So it's not a great value in terms of like they actually scored the last goal, as opposed to betting on them to get the empty netter.
Good point. Oh, I skipped a game. It doesn't probably really matter. I skipped 2 games. The Devils in Montreal. This one can be quick. We'll do this one real fast. Probably not betting the lines because you know what? Before we say it, let's just pull this up. And Montreal is a small value. Why are they always a small value, Jay? Why do you do this to yourself? They don't win games.
Well, actually, the model likes Jake Allen, but this is with Montembeault projected. I don't know if that was confirmed or not. Montreal, usually because the sportsbooks just don't like them at all. So there is a slight value.
It's Jake Allen. This is true because they're bad. Yeah. It's Jake Allen. Yeah. Okay, so let's just make this real easy. I'll make it even the easiest I've ever made anything for anyone ever. Timo, they nuked him. Man. 255 now? Okay, let's go another way then. Let's just do, man, they really don't love us. This is actually way worse than I thought. Okay, New Jersey, highest projected goals, second highest shot volume. Like, you're finding a line here and you're going to use it. Their power play has been Hughes, Hamilton, pretty spread out. Wow, they nuke this. That's not fun. I was going to say Timo Point was going to be easy. It still might just be what I do because I don't know.
Did we see line updates? Because I believe in practice yesterday, Jesper Boquist was moved to Hughes and Meyer's line.
He was.
So that's
we did get lines though. I retweeted them.
Yeah, I missed it.
It is, it's Boquist. Meyer, Hughes, Boquist, Tatar, Heishier, Mercer. Is he offered?
So I'm not sure if Boquist is offered, but he won't be the shooter on that line for sure. It would be like more of a benefactor of getting a point if he was offered, but I doubt he's on there.
Unfortunately, no. What about for an assist? What if we get crazy? We can't. Perfect. Thank you, DraftKings. You really helped us out a lot here.
All right.
That
kind of stuff on there.
I mean, you could do Dawson Mercer. I just hate it. I feel like it's gotten out of hand. Like,
yeah, it has.
This guy's not Montreal, on the top power play.
Right.
It's like,
right.
What are we doing?
Against Montreal, you're not getting
Everyone
the value from the sports books that normally you get with
it was plus money forever, and then you're just like, yeah, sure, plus money, why not, right? Like, guy's not a top power play, like plays with Heishier, like he might do something, and it is what it is. Okay, we got to make a decision here. I think you're going point prop. I think you're just, I mean, you could just take Dougie, honestly. What the heck, like minus 160? Like, is he bad? Minus 160? Is that bad? What do we got? That is frustrating. That is 2-point prop for Hughes might be in play too. That might be the other thing we look at. What is Yeah. So I think it's Dougie or Hughes for 2. Well,
yeah.
Which one do you think?
I would go Dougie. Dougie.
Let's go Dougie. I agree. I like that. I'm like sitting here being like, man, Dougie's really good. Huh? Dougie's good for shooting. Dougie. It's like, well, why not get a point, right? Minus 160 against a terrible team. But his shot prop, I mean, you maybe could squint and say sure, but he only has 5 points. Like, now that Timo's there, Dougie doesn't have to shoot as much on the power play. He probably won't. Over on Underdog, I'd love to get one of these props. Dougie for 3. That doesn't seem bad at all. I'd almost consider that to be very good. Dougie for 3 definitely feels like value. What are his actual results? Okay, whatever. A couple games that. Yeah, I
got it for 3.5. Yeah, I got him for 3.5 projected. So.
Yeah, for 3. That seems really good. This is a game I like. When I'm making pick'ems right now, I'm looking at it like I'm just going here and saying like, okay, I'm going to be putting a New Jersey Devil in this stack, like in this script, like it's happening.
Yep.
This is just too much shot volume to ignore. If they have Jake Allen, 32.5 seems steep, but I don't hate it, honestly. Like, I think you could click on Jake Allen too and pair those together. Back to that. Let's keep moving, though. I think we covered this game just fine. We can get over to Chicago and Tampa. If you hate yourself, you can bet on this game. If you just don't love yourself, and like if you don't, call me. You're gonna damn me. I'll tell you you're wonderful. This is brutal. 2.5 plus 105. Like, are we just betting Chicago? Like what even is this? Like, this is just like that, why are we like why?
It's crazy. It's crazy, isn't it?
The books.
Still I would say no. Like I wouldn't do it. You just don't know. There's just a lot that you don't know with their lineup. They might have Anton Khudobin in that, which I mean, last time we saw him, he was absolutely terrible. So who knows how he would perform for him, just coming up out of the AHL. His first action in over a year.
I knew it was, but Brian Elliott is confirmed. Yikes.
Yeah.
If you click on Tampa to win by 3 goals and Brian Elliott's in that, just DM me. I love you. You don't have to. Friends don't let friends do that. And Tampa should win this game so easily.
Victor Hedman's back.
Yeah.
But
back.
It's interesting. He's on power play too. So Sergachev's staying on power play, which he's been very productive on that first unit lately. And obviously that top line's all correlated with Stamkos, Point, and Kucherov. So that's very good for my best puck teams that are still alive. But
the good one.
It's going to be a heavy
matters most.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be a heavy play in DFS today. So probably fade that.
Oh yeah, it's going to be absolutely hammered, and I don't think it's in the best. I mean, just get back on track here. There should be shots here. And like, if we're even considering the fact that Chicago could score some goals against Elliott, Tampa should have a lot. Top power play is Stamkos Kucherov. I didn't even have to look, but I looked anyways just for fun, just to look at it and be happy. Stamkos 2.5. I mean, like, is this guy that bad? Like, what's going on there? I mean, come on, right? Like, is he really not going to get 3 shots against the freaking Blackhawks? Like, this is a guy. It's been a bit streaky this year, but my heavens, like, this is getting out of control. Michael Eissemont, don't do it to me, kid. Don't you dare. He's not listed.
Fourth line center.
Thank you, DraftKings. Don't talk about Michael Eissemont that way.
So
Eissemont.
I can projected over 3. Yeah, I Stamkos projected over 3 today. 3 shots on goal. Kucherov 3.31. So
I like it. I mean, this is probably just the best case of like regression should get back on his side again. Like, let's just look at the full season really quickly. I don't know. Again, I'm showing this a lot, and I'm wondering if people can see it at all. I can't zoom on it. So if you can't, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he's like a 6 shot attempt per game on the season. Like, this is just the perfect case of positive regression coming back to him. And like, I love Kucherov, and he does shoot, and he has been, but like, this guy oftentimes doesn't want to, and Stamkos actively does. So yeah, I don't know why we're overthinking this. Like, let's just move on. Like, this is clearly a value.
Who has that shooter's mentality on the line the most? I feel like Stamkos is the guy.
I would be fine with putting him in at 3 as well.
Yep.
What are we had nothing there. Get back to it. This is a bit more fringe. This is almost like an aspirational, like I said, play and Stamkos in a pick 'em rather than like a clear cut value. Next game, we're probably getting somewhat close, but this is the game of the night. I mean, realistically, like the game everyone should be most excited to watch. Of course, when asked Connor McDavid, hey, are you more excited to play back in Toronto where you're from? He's like, I just care about winning the hockey game. And I just wanted to throw something at the TV because I have a personality. But this is still Connor McDavid. It's like he has like one bad game in the books. We're like, all right, back to normal. I'm like, I feel like I'm betting something McDavid related here. But I do think Toronto's really good. Let's pull it up quickly. If McDavid, like, I think he's missed 2 in a row on Trop Props. I think he only had 1 point in like the game against. No, he had 0 against Boston, right? Was it 0? I think it was like, you know what? Why am I guessing? I could just look. I have the technology right here. If I can find it, there's so many games. Holy crap! Connor McDavid, no points last game. 1 shot on goal. Oof. 2 against Buffalo. Classic. Yeah, I think Toronto's a really, really good hockey team. I'm skipping ahead too. Let's actually just take a look at the game projection first. Oh boy, it's a pick
50-50. Yep. There's not really any edge.
No. What is Tavares is back? We know Tavares is back.
Yeah, he's back. But they kept Nylander off his line. Nylander's still with Yarncroc and Lafferty. And you froze again, DJ.
Oh, no, I didn't freeze. I was reading something.
Wow, you were very still.
Am I frozen?
No, you're good.
That was on purpose. Okay.
That's like when you want to fake a drop ball.
Converse power play. If Converse power play 1, I'm not betting his shots. If he's power play 3, I'm not betting his. Like, I'm just not betting his shots. Yeah. He doesn't want to shoot, so don't bet Conver. Okay, yeah, this game, not betting any of this. The over 7. I mean, that just feels insane. But I just can't. I can't click on a game that McDavid is in and click under. I just won't do it. I think that's wrong though. I'm fine with probably getting back on the Connor McDavid train. I rode the Austin Matthews train back to success. I'm fine with just riding McDavid here. Tavares back, has been shooting a lot. What's his line? It's did they forget that hiding it behind something? Yeah, no, not there. Okay, thank you, DraftKings. Congratulations, you played me. Why? Like, okay, this is just the dumbest sports book. Like, why don't they care about, like, okay. Let's get back to Connor McDavid over 3.5, right? I mean, are we just overthinking this right now?
Nope.
Draisaitl's not shooting. It's really embarrassing for him. I'd love to pick him, but let's find him. Let's just even look 4 attempts per game. And on the full season, I don't think it's all that much better than 4. It's like 5. Yeah, he just doesn't shoot. I don't know what happened. Last year we were jamming over 3.5, and everyone was like, is this ever going to stop happening? And now he just is like, yes, this season, the whole season, done shooting. Guys are here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just I'm pretty sure Wookie posted something about Nylander 2 being a regression candidate. I don't know what that was, but Wookie, if you're still here, if you want to mention something, because I remember looking into that too. I was actually trying to find Toronto lines, and I just could not find them in like 2 seconds. And I'm sure it'd be way easier. It's just there's so many beat reporters for Toronto that they post. I mean, and some of them have lives. Did I lose you, Jay? Am I still here? I think I'm still here. I think we lost Jay. That's okay. I think it's just Matthews, not Matthews. It's just good old McDavid here. And I think anything else is probably overthinking it. Like, this is still a good matchup for him. I do think we lost Jay for a second, but that's okay.
I'm still
Let's
here.
take one more second. Oh, you're still here. Okay, good. You just muted yourself. I don't see. Oh, and they're wearing the St. Pat's jerseys for Toronto. Ooh, that's fun. All right, Kerfoot, Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Lafferty. But okay, it was a bit of a mess. That's the problem. So it's probably going to be Tavares, Nylander, and either Bunting or Yonkrock. We will see it in pregame skate. Yeah, let's just do this. I don't think there's anything even to look at. I mean, I was riding Matthews every time at 3.5 when he was like minus 140 or minus 150 or whatever, but it's gotten out of hand. I don't know if I'm clicking on this 4. That feels very, very, very fringe. I mean, what's this game pace-wise? I don't even think it's that great. 13th? That sounds about right. Both teams kind of splitting it evenly. Toronto, bad. Edmonton, pretty good. Yeah, it makes it easy. Just McDavid. I don't think this is going to make my pick'em slip, and it's priced accurately at around a pick'em. So everything seems to be pretty much in order there. I'll bring us over to the next game while Jay gets back on screen right now. Perfect. Washington and the Islanders. Now, before we even get to anything, is Palmieri shooting or is Palmieri shooting? Yes, Palmieri and Dobson are shooting a lot. I think they both hit last time, and I played the over 2 for Palmieri. If he is over 2 again, that is getting clicked on this very second. Not listed. Tough break. Parise is listed. Why do you think? Okay. Let's get to the game in general, though. I just wanted to see if that was there because that would have been a very nice pick. Islanders, small favorites. Ooh. Am I betting the Islanders today? It is Varlamov and net. We did get that confirmed. You have it as a pick'em. I think Washington sucks. Honestly, I've been very, very low on them. But the thing is, on the other hand, I don't think the Islanders are that good. So right. I like Palmieri and I like Dobson for shots. I don't think that's going to come as a surprise. I'm definitely going that way myself. I don't think there's a major edge on the line, but I think you could bet the Islanders still. I really do. I think Washington is pretty much dust and only going to get worse over time. This is honestly probably the 2 teams I'm like the lowest on that are like not actively, and Detroit, that are not actively bad, like clearly not trying. But the Islanders have Sorokin normally. Is Varlamov that bad?
Yeah. No, he's not that. He's not that bad. It's a good pace, good game environment. It's the second highest on the entire day. So the Islanders are sneaky like that. Like they just give up a lot of shots. They block a lot, but they give up a lot of shot attempts. So the Capitals aren't like super high volume necessarily, but they do shoot the puck. So if you're looking
I think
at
it's
any
just
overs.
Ovi and Dobson. I mean, Ovi is minus 145 or 3.5. That seems pretty good. What do we have here? Washington, maybe a little, like you're saying, it's not quite as bad as you might think. Neither are, and that's why the pace is just like both teams should be fine.
Right.
Like they should actually get some opportunity. I think you could go either way on that and feel really, really good. You could bet on both. I mean, those are both solid on Underdog. You're not going to get Ovi at 3.5, but you are getting Dobson at 2.5. I think that's a really, really easy ad. I know it's not always every time it hits, but this is a good matchup for him. And he is on the season, and I kind of pulled it up really briefly, but like 6.4 is pretty average for him. So if you're thinking he gets 7 attempts in this game, that 2.5 should hit most of the time. And they are giving him the puck to shoot on the power play, if not Palmieri. So if he was here for 2, I think it's safer, but Dobson 2.5 feels really good. There's really no one else on Washington that I even care about. Like Tom Wilson shooting a bit, and then no one else that plays forward is above 3.8 shot attempts per game in the last 5. And they really don't have like a season rates either that are very high. So no thank you on any of them. I think on the sports book, I'm going to like in a big parlay, I'm just going Ovi. I just trust it more, like mainly because where he's shooting from compared to Dobson. Like I think they're shooting about the same, but Ovi's going to get more on net in perpetuity than Dobson at a rate that I think is just safer to say that he gets 4 more often than Dobson gets 3, even if in the last 5 they've shot about the same amount of attempts. And to illustrate that, Ovi has 20 shots on goal to Dobson's 12. Wow. It's as if math has come all the way together for me there. Okay. Good game. Good talk. Next one? Or any point props?
No, I don't. I'm not going on points in this game.
Okay, yeah. Washington, I don't remember their lines, but I almost think Tom Wilson was up with the top unit. Yeah. It's not worth it. You're right. Let's move on.
If anything, it's Tom Wilson, either point or to score. That's where the value's been with Tom Wilson. So
yeah, 100%. That was easy. Like if that's where you want, if you're a point prop person, I think that's totally fine. But I think the shots have better hit rate potential in this game because I don't care for Robinson as a goalie. Like I don't care. LS Seattle. Now this game probably not going to quite have the same pace. 12th seems accurate. These are two teams that I kind of think are somewhat similar. Only Dallas has a superstar player and Seattle doesn't. Like these are two teams that roll 4 lines.
I think Dallas you had it reversed. Seattle has a superstar player. His name's Jared McCann, and then Dallas doesn't.
I thought
Robertson has fallen off. Oh yeah.
But he's so good. He's so good. The shots on goal he had against Buffalo.
Yeah. Yes.
He had 9.
Awesome, man.
I bet him at 3.5, and I'm like, was that 4 already? And all right, 9. I love Jason Robertson. Like, I'm such a big fan. Like, I think, but again, like, when he falls off, it's not that he falls off in everything he does. It's just like sometimes he'll stop shooting as much. He's so gifted. Like, everything he does makes everyone and every shift. He's amazingly, he's just in all and that McCann is like right now, 30 goals. Like the guy's freaking rocks. But I don't know. There's something about Jason Robertson, man. He's just a different breed of player. Like that, he gets so many points because he's just always in the right position to make the play start, to make the play happen when it's happening, and to just be involved. He is one of my favorites. Power plays in Seattle are a bit deceiving because they run 2 units pretty evenly. They really have no rhyme or reason, so I don't really look to them too much. But as this shows, and I think I tweaked it out, Bjorkstrand, McCann, and Tolvanen, and then the other unit, it's like Sprong when he plays, and who cares? Robertson shooting about the same amount as everyone else. Ben is more net front, so who cares? I am going to assume after Robertson's last game, he's going to have a lot of attempts because Buffalo decided to let him shoot all the time from anywhere at any point. And he didn't score, but he did have 3 assists because he's Jason Robertson and he's really good at hockey. Better than me, some are saying. Pace,
sure?
like we said, not fantastic. Both, I'm not quite positive, but I'm gonna put it out there that I think he might be. So McCann and Robertson are shooting a ton. Domi actually shooting a good business being back. Bjorkstrand exists. I just don't think you look past either the McCann at -150 or Robertson at -125 for shot props. There's just no need. Like these prices are not bad. So you can convince me on either. Let's take a look. We have the game projection here. It's not quite a pick 'em. Seattle, a Slate favorite. Are they favorites? No. Seattle at home plus 100. No. That's also probably Not
No,
bad.
but I have him as favorites.
I know
so,
Matt would talk.
Yeah, so there's value there.
Matt would talk me off of it. Matt does not like Seattle. I don't know why. Let's look. Seattle. Okay. Well, it just doesn't like them to actually score goals. Dallas. I don't know. I'm leaning Robertson myself. And I know that I could be being swayed by one game and just watching him play live. It's one or the other. I don't think you look at anyone else for shots. What about points? What is?
It would be like Tolvanen if you're looking at points. Ooh. or something like that.
What do we have? Starting goalies. Let's try it again. There it goes. Do we have either of those projected a little bit better? No. Pretty low volume. Damn, that stinks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think when in doubt, I just go Robertson at this price myself. He's shooting so much. I think there'll be some volume from them. Underdog probably has it too. If they have that 3.5, I think that's justified. We're out of room. But we'll do a couple slips and we'll keep this in mind. So you like Seattle. Is there anything else you like in this game?
Not really. With it being kind of like a 50-50, pick 'em game, it's I can't really lean one way or the other with any of the anything else.
All right, we're running. Let's whip through the last 3 games here. It's getting late. Okay, so this good pace. Yeah, this is probably going to be an easy Ottawa shot type situation. Honestly, I might even consider that minus 125. I think Ottawa is not terrible. Let's take a peek. What we have there's just so many games. Sorting through all this has been annoying. Oh, wow. You actually have Vancouver? Sheesh. Are you actually betting Vancouver today? Is that a thing you're doing?
I don't know. It's a Thatcher Demko thing. And I don't know if it's...
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, the model still likes Thatcher Demko, so that's why. Ottawa has the shot volume, obviously, but I don't know. Matt Sogard in that for them.
Yeah, I think I think Ottawa's going to have quite a few shots. But, yeah, goaltending gets real finicky here. I probably just not touching these lines because I don't think you really
Before you get into the shot on goal stuff, right off the bat, I can tell you that Drake Batherson's been an absolute steal for a power play point all year, and it just doesn't change it. I don't know why, but they just never change it. He's always around that plus 200, even when he's facing bad teams. And then, I mean, he's a focal point of that power play.
Yeah.
So,
100%. 240. Oh, I've run out of room.
But it's just I bet it every single game they play because he's a steal. And then his goal prop too. It's been pretty good. I know he went kind of cold recently. It's been a few games since he scored, but the coach did say last game he thought Batherson was the best player. So
he actively might be. I don't even think that's. I mean, Brady's a better total player. I'm not going to argue that. And Stützle has amazing offensive upside, but Batherson just gets forgotten about, and he is so freaking good at hockey. It's out of control. Actually, they scored 5 against Seattle, and there's reason for that because they're built.
Yeah, there's certain guys that the model just kind of leans toward, and Batherson's definitely one of those guys. Maybe it overrates him a smidge, but it's because of all the behind the scenes numbers that he has, all the underlying stuff. It bodes well to predict future success for him. So you'll notice in the correlation page, him and DeBrincat are constantly, because they're so heavily correlated, they're just constantly up there as top correlated players of the day. Even with some of the best stacks, there's times that they're number 1, 2, or 3. So it's just a thing that the model absolutely loves Batherson and DeBrincat for good reason.
Okay, well, I'm never going to be able to get rid of any of these slips, so anything out of this, I've clicked X on every one of them. Okay, cool. Yeah, Batherson over 2.5 minus 130. What are we even talking about? That is just pretty absurd value. Yeah. If that's offered, I'm taking out Stamkos and putting it in. Oh, there it is. What do you know? So I'm going to lock this one in really quickly and post it. Gensel, Natros, Dougie, Dobson, Batherson. This is a fun slip. I'm going to copy that link. Yeah, sure. Copy away. I'm going to post it right on over here. Hopefully it works because sometimes it's been a bit of a nuisance. Tweet. Like a bird. No, it's not going to work, is it? It's going to post it all weird. I don't really care. People know what to do. They know how to pick stuff. It doesn't, like when I do the computer one, it always messes up. Okay. Now we can move forward, and I will post. I'm not going to post all of these bets because I'm not making every single last one of them, but I'll post a few slips when we finish up. So don't have no fear. Player point wise, you could also go Batherson just for a point minus 135. Like what are we even doing? Like that seems crazy as well. Like actually almost just as crazy as his shots. Like this guy's so good. Like why? Like why don't they love him as much as we do? I don't get it. We'll take advantage of it.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just very good. And as we see here, like Ottawa is going to have shot volume. I think you could reasonably say, like, we don't have goalie props yet, but you could say like Demko saves over plus an Ottawa guy or two. Could be fun later. But we'll get over to Nashville and LA. Yeah, just I guess also, the Chuck, Batherson, DeBrincat, Stutzel all shooting on the power play makes sense. But I think Batherson is a guy they would love to have shooting more. Nashville and LA on the bottom here. That top power play is a little weird, but Fiala, Kempe are clearly the guys. Doughty's been shooting a bit more there, but I don't think that's as much of what they want to do as much as it's just what's happening. Not a lot of stuff offered right now, so we can't probably give you a full look at this game yet. But on the LA side, my boy, my savior, the guy that may be carrying multiple lineups of mine to the finals of the Underdog Best Puck Challenge is Victor Arvidsson. This guy is just on fire. They're like, hey, Victor Arvidsson, you want to play with Kevin Fiala? And that's worked. It's worked really, really well. I don't know why they'd ever stop. This guy has 8.6 attempts per game over the last 5. They're going to throw him up there for 2.5. I almost promise you that. I'm going to bet it every time. I've been betting it for weeks straight, just in every slip. And everyone's just jamming it away. We're all winning money. We're having a great time. It's very fun. You should join me in this adventure. We only have Fiala for 3 right now. I don't know what to tell you. We'll have to wait. If Arvidsson's fair for 3, I'm probably going to take it. Guy rocks. 8.6 attempts. It's a lot. Here, you know what? I already omitted the 2 teams. Let's say who has been shooting more than Victor Arvidsson on this slate today of every team, everyone playing. It's only Pastrnak. It's the only guy. Carlson's tied with him. That's it. That's the whole list. No one else is shooting more. Any
plus
questions?
The revenge narrative.
Plus the revenge narrative. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What is he for goal scorer? First goal scorer, last goal scorer, and anytime goal scorer. I was kidding. I was gonna say he actually might be on the ice at the end of the game.
He's not that much. It's surprising how little he is. It's actually So like Trevor Moore is the guy that I would target, but
he's back.
Yeah, but problem is they're putting him on the 4th line, so I don't even know if he'd be deployed as much in that situation as normal. But usually it's Danault and Trevor Moore are the 2 guys that I target for last goal with them. But I will say I actually have Nashville favored in this game. So
whoa.
Yeah, I know, surprising. But
I'm an LA guy. I mean, don't listen to me.
Yeah, well. Hey, usually I am too, but the per 60 stats on some of the guys that Nashville is playing now, like Tomasino and Luke Evangelista and like all these guys, they're actually putting up good rates. And it should be noted today, John Leonard was sent down to the AHL yesterday. He was on the top line. So maybe Juuso Parsonen's back and he gets that spot, or they jumble the lines a little bit. We don't know for sure, but they've actually been
surprising.
They've been putting up some good per 60 rates.
There was a moment there where it was like this team is actually back. Like this Nashville team has a chance to push for a playoff spot, and they just folded though. But we'll see. We will see.
And part of what weighs into this projection of Nashville being favored today is the model still hates Jonas Korpisalo. So if it is Korpisalo in that, if they switch to Copley instead, it might be a little bit more in LA's favor, but But if you scroll down the goal scorers,
you.
but if you go scroll down the goal scorers, if there's anyone like Evangelista that's plus crazy money, like he might be a flyer on a goal. Yeah, that's not bad. And then maybe even Yuso Parsonen if he gets that top line spot. Just keep an eye on that if he slots right in where Leonard was.
Yeah, I think that's a go to FanDuel, and they sleep forever on players. So I bet it's a lot better on the FanDuel, the whatever you want to call it. As far as Nashville is concerned, really quickly, I mean, Yossi and Duchesne, every shot, if possible, those two guys are taking. Duchesne has hurt me in the past, but that 35% on the power play is second or third best. I mean, better than Ovi, like right now, like that's how crazy it is. I know Palmieri as well. Like I mentioned him quite a bit. Like there are not many guys on this slate that are shooting on the power play as much. There's like two as Duchesne. So I do think if you are like, man, I believe this team could win, like Duchesne's probably going to be very involved. So you can give that a look. I don't think I'm betting him for a shot prop because I don't think he's been shooting enough for me, even with all that power play, like high danger exposure. He's just not that great of a player in general, which is not letting him 5.4 get enough volume at 5-on-5. He's just, that's so bad. Too bad, so sad, or whatever the saying is. So Minnesota, no Kirill Kaprizov, playing against the San Jose Sharks. The Sharks are obviously underdogs again. Not surprising at all. This game, I think, as this is indicating, should still be Minnesota winning and being really good, but this minus 180 price feels arguably exploitable. You have it as exploitable. I agree with that. Sharks are at home. They're not terrible. We don't have a lot of shot props yet. I think it's because Minnesota is a bit of a, like, what's exactly going on here situation.
Yeah,
they did practice.
It looked like Sam Steele, right? And sliding right into that Kirill Kaprizov spot, and then they're just leaving the lines the same other than that. But it's interesting though what they could do if in game if things start to unravel a little bit. And but you got to think
they do. You got
to think who's going to. Yeah, and you got to think for Minnesota, who's going to be shooting on that top line now? Is it Zuccarello who steps up? Hartman's a more volume shooter usually, so maybe Hartman takes an expanded role. Hartman got moved up to the top power play in Kaprizov's spot.
The main point.
So maybe he starts unleashing it on the power play too, which could help. So Hartman might be a big value play today.
430 for a power play point for Hartman.
Yep.
We're going to be running $1 million thing. I hate to say it. It's going to miss by at least 9 of the 12 legs, but we're going to do it anyways. Yeah, Hartman for sure, not offered yet. That's going to make a slip. Oh, 2.5. Wow.
Yep.
Does that ever seem juicy? Holy crap. Was he here? Did I miss him? Oh, he is here. Wow. Where is he? This was not here. I had this up. I'm not losing my mind. This wasn't offered.
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't notice.
I'm not wrong, right? Like I pulled that up and I was like, no Minnesota guys yet. And now they're there. Okay. So Hartman, let's just pull up the raw numbers. This is going to include Kaprizov, obviously, because he was still playing until he was hurt early third period. Last thing we're going to do here. Kaprizov, Boldy, Zuccarello, Hartman. So Boldy as well, over 2.5. He could get even more of an expanded role as well. But I think I'm leaning Hartman. Steele doesn't shoot. Zuccarello might, but I don't trust him as much as I trust Hartman. Now on the top power play. I'm going to get some slips together. Anything you want to mention, puckluck.com, anything else at all?
No, just go to puckluck.com. If you like some of the tools we've shown you, obviously it'll help you with your betting, with your DFS. We have a bunch of tools there. And then we also been tracking the playoff race. That's been kind of interesting. You'll notice the playoff implications on these game projections that we've added now, just to give you an idea of the importance of these games. We're getting down to the nitty gritty where a lot of these teams are kind of clinching or they're out. But for the ones that are still in the heat of the battle, check it out.
All right. Yeah. I didn't check actually. That'll just give me 1 second. I had 8 teams, but I didn't look after last night. Is it better? Is it worse? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams now in first place. I mean, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
We got 1 week. Come on. If I have 9 teams going into Sunday next week, I am going to be inconsolable. Okay. with all that being said, Morning Skate Podcast, whatever, follow, like, interact. I don't care. Do whatever you want to do. It's your life. Go to a hockey game, watch live hockey. That's really all I care about. We need to grow the sport because we have stuff that most sports don't even have. We're like doing all this work for a sport that no one seems to care about. Playoffs are coming though, and we're all going to be together. 95% of the stuff I'm showing on screen is available in our Discord. Or if you want to check out NHL Wookie, I mentioned him multiple times. He's in our Discord. He has his own Discord. All this stuff is free in his Discord. He posts it every single day as well. And he posted in our Discord at Morning Skate Pod. So you can at me or DM me or whatever, and I'll get you a link. It's free. No money. I don't charge your money. Save your money. Go to a hockey game. Okay, let's get out of here. Enjoy your Saturday. I'm going to crack a beer. Let's go.
Yeah, have fun, everyone.
Anything else? Bye, everyone. Is it end?